Welcome back, theater lovers. Today we have a special guest joining us, winner of the 2026 Sutton Foster Awards, Lillian Tang. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I just wanted to start off by congratulating you on your win at the Sutton Foster Awards. You gave such an incredible performance. How does it feel to kind of walk away with such a high honor?
I mean, it's just incredible. I was just so honored to represent the Sutton Foster Awards, my high school, my community, my family at the Jimmy Awards, and just really putting myself out there and having that wonderful experience. Something I will never forget.
It has been quite a journey, from getting into the Sutton Fosters, winning, and then going to the Jimmy Awards. Where do you feel like, though, your love for the arts really began?
So when I was around 7 years old, I had my first big girl role as a little Cosette in Les Mis with Dream Arts Company, directed by Tiffany Sims. And I remember just going on that stage for the first time, singing my very first solo with me, the spotlight, and the audience. And I just knew the second I got there that this is what I love.
That's such an incredible role at such a young age.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Everyone in that cast was just so supportive. They were just such role models for me. I was the youngest member of the cast, so for them to show me around and to teach me how to read a script, where am I supposed to go for this specific song, it was just so wonderful to be in a community that's so supportive.
And in that moment, you were like, I know this is what I want to do. I want to be a part of the arts.
Yes.
So what have you felt like has been the biggest challenge that you've overcame on your journey to being a performer?
I'd say the biggest challenge is to keep going, because musical theater, there's definitely times when you will get a no from an audition. And even though you get that no, that doesn't mean that you should stop. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep working hard, and you gotta keep putting yourself out there, because in the end, you will succeed and you will be so happy with the end result.
Perseverance is one of those hardest things, absolutely, because
Yes.
like being able to just keep, even in the face of of the no's, I've heard before, like a hyperbole, but like kind of like 1,000 no's happens before you get that yes, and you just have to
Yes.
remind yourself that it doesn't end with that no.
Yeah. You just gotta keep going. That's what I have to say.
And for you, what has kind of been some of your biggest inspirations for being a performer?
Honestly, my biggest inspiration is probably my mom. My mom has been a mentor. She's been my biggest supporter. And the first day that I was like, Mom, I want to do musical theater, she was right off the bat helping me, finding a voice teacher, signing me up for dance lessons. And it was just so nice to have such a wonderful mom who's so supportive. And I remember after I won the Sutton Foster Awards, the first thing I did was I grabbed my phone and it's like, Mom, we did it. I need to meet you in this room so we can start getting ready for the Jimmys. Oh! But I remember just telling her we did it, because not only was it an accomplishment for me, but it was an accomplishment for us. She's been there every step of the way with me.
She sounds like she's such a supporter and also an active part of being like your team, your family is there to kind of help you in this journey. And that's so incredible.
Yes, I love her so much.
And it's important to have parents who are supportive. And that's one of the things that, I feel like as a young kid, a lot of people are like, I want to be an actor, but to have a parent that's like, we can do this, we just have to do it together. And that's incredible. So shout out to your mom. She sounds amazing.
Yes. Shout out to my mom.
So in the school year, I know that there's, you get nominated for the Sutton Foster Awards based on your performance. But when did you start to feel like maybe the Sutton Foster Awards were a reality for you?
Honestly, probably the first workshop weekend. I was at the East Lansing weekend, which was the second workshop weekend, I believe.
Okay.
And I remember going into our first, what was it? The dance call. Yes. It was the first thing that we did. And I remember just seeing everyone already warmed up, being just so professional and learning the dance so quick. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And I remember in that moment, I'm like, I made it with all these talented kids, and just, after that, going to our first music rehearsal, hearing everyone's voices come together, hearing the harmonies, hearing the altos, hearing the tenors, sopranos, and baritones. It was just so wonderful hearing everyone come together.
I do have to say, having, this was the first time I've ever been to the Sutton Foster Awards, and
Oh,
watching you guys.
really?
Yeah, no. So this was a great kind of honor to see this. And I do have to say that the moment you performed your solo, my business partner said, she's going to win. And I was like, how did you know? How did you know that when we were driving home? And he said, there's just some people that have natural talent. And when you see it on stage, you can just recognize it. So the moment you performed, he was like, she's going to win.
Oh, thank you.
But what I love too is that you guys were so, for a process like that is so intense and that there's not a lot of time, you had like a very like family feel to you and all of the different students that were on stage.
Yeah. My character medley group and I remember the first day when we first sat down, we got to know each other. After that moment, we just all became best friends. We made a group chat. There is a whole Sutton Foster Awards group chat, and we all keep in touch. And we're like, come see our show. Congratulations on this callback. And like, we're just also still supportive, and we all still do feel like a one big family.
That's so incredible. And then, you performed your medley, and then they get to the moment where they announce your name. What was that moment like for you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, last year I was in the audience watching because I wanted to see what it was like to not watch, yes, to watch the Sutton Foster Awards, and just being a sophomore and then finally being nominated to go this year. I never would have thought I was going to be a finalist and then to win, which is crazy. But I remember in that moment, I was just so shocked. I was definitely confused because I'm like, my name was called.
Sure.
But I mean, everyone up there was so, so, so talented. I remember being backstage because I went last. I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone is so, so talented. But for that moment, I was just so grateful to be a finalist. And it was just truly an incredible experience.
That had to be a little bit nerve wracking being the last one. Like I feel like I would be one of those people like, let's get it out of the way. Let's go first. I don't want to, I don't want to sit there with the
Yeah.
nerves, but you did such an incredible job.
Oh, thank you so much.
And then you were able to go and represent Michigan at the Jimmy Awards, which is such a high honor. That was so cool. It was so cool getting to also follow you and AJ around on your journeys while you did this. But what was that like to get there and to be a part of the Jimmy Awards?
Oh my gosh, it was just incredible. I remember getting there on the first day and just meeting all these other full, very, very talented nominees and just knowing their story, what role they were nominated for, how did they get there, what are their plans for college or future school. And I remember the first thing that we did was, again, a music rehearsal. And again, just hearing all these voices come together. And I mean, all of us are just so happy that we made it this far, and just meeting these wonderful people, getting to work with them was just amazing. It was such an honor.
I mean, it has to be so cool and also an awesome honor, but it's so cool to be a part of a group that is representing the best of the best for high schools across the nation. Like, and to be able to be a representative of that is, again, such a high honor.
I mean, it was just truly unreal. I remember the day we found out if we were in the future group or in character medley, I was just so scared to open that document because everyone was just so talented. You really couldn't tell who was going to be in which group. And I remember opening up that message and seeing that my name was selected for character medley. I remember I started crying. I called my mom. It's like, Mom, we did it again. It was just
Yes.
such a wonderful experience again.
And then, so like you go and you kind of like audition again to them to kind of be chosen for that. Is that kind of the process for it?
Yes. So we had a couple days to like work on the opening number, but then l- earlier in the week we had an audition where we had to sing a 32 bar Yes, a 32 bar cut of our character song and then a
Okay.
1 minute cut of our selected solo song. And
Okay.
that audition was to determine if you were in the feature group or in the character medley group.
And it's so cool that both you and AJ got to be a part of a character medley and to
Yes.
see those characters once again. And it's funny because the amount of people I saw also giving love to the show that you were kind of representing as well, Hello Girls, is just incredible as well. Because you don't really see a lot of that show or that love because of what happened with COVID and stuff. So to be able to have that representation as well is just awesome.
Yeah. I was just so honored to continue telling the Hello Girl story and then Suzanne's story as well. Um, Not again, like you said, like not a lot of people know about this musical, but the story behind this musical is just so interesting. And it's just, I love telling the story to everyone. At the Jimmy Awards, people were like, "What is this musical?" And I'm like, okay. So,
Let
and
me tell you.
let me tell you. And everyone at the very end was like, wow, this is such a really cool musical. And I mean, like, the fact that this actually happened and that these women were just unrecognized and the fact that it's being told now is just so wonderful. And
It's one of those shows that I'm always hoping makes a comeback because,
yes.
again, it was cut because of COVID and stuff. It was just, it didn't find the life that it was supposed to. And it should, because it's one of those stories that is inspiring and wonderful. And that's why everyone was kind of in awe. Like, well, me and my partner, we were just like, wow, getting to see, Lillian perform that on stage was incredible. Especially, again, you were a sophomore doing this and you were just crushing it. So again, incredible, incredible performance. But you were able to train and learn from so many incredible artists while you were preparing at the Jimmy Awards. What was it like to learn from some of them?
Oh my gosh. It was truly incredible. I remember we had a Fosse workshop with Charlotte Dombois, and I remember seeing her performance as Cassie in the chorus line, and then her performance in Chicago, and the fact that she was teaching me Fosse, which I've never had training of that specific dance style, but learning it from her was just such an incredible experience. She was a wonderful teacher. She was very supportive of us. And I remember at the very end of the workshop, I wanted to thank her for teaching us this wonderful dance style. And I remember her telling me that I got to keep going on dance and that I got to keep trying hard and keep putting myself out there because that's what really helps you get far in musical theater. So it was just incredible to not only learn a dance, but to get advice from her as well.
It's like one of those pinch me moments, like you just
Yes, yes,
like how many people would think that this would happen? Like would
yes.
young Lillian believe this? Probably not.
No, not at all. Young Lillian wouldn't even believe that I would go to the Jimmy Awards or the Sutton Foster Awards.
It's crazy. I mean, and then also don't want to downplay it as well. You performed on a Broadway stage. Like that is also such a cool, what a highlight to kind of like put a pin in to be like, yeah, I
Yes,
performed on a Broadway stage at such a young age again.
yes. And there were just so many highlights of the Jimmy Awards, not only making my Broadway debut alongside 115 other nominees. We had our headshots put up in Times Square, which was
Yes.
so cool to see. I remember the second I saw my face up there, I'm like, oh my gosh, it didn't feel real. And then we also got to see MJ, the musical. And I've been a Michael Jackson fan for forever. And just to see a musical about him, I will never hear some of the songs the same again because MJ the musical does such a wonderful job telling the audience of Michael Jackson's story and the meaning behind his songs. And I never really dug that deep into those moments, but seeing it out in front of me, I just got to see a totally different side of Michael. And it was just crazy. And the Michael that night actually made his Broadway debut as well. So I thought it was
Oh, that's
cool that
awesome.
not only we are making our Broadway debut, but he is as well. And then we later got to have a Q&A with the cast with the Michael who debuted that night. And it was so cool seeing him debut and answering all of our questions because we were asking him, how did it feel to make your Broadway debut? Were you nervous? And the fact that he just gave us that advice when we later made our Broadway debut a couple days later was just incredible.
Yeah, you could take that information and apply it to your own experience of having a Broadway debut. That's so awesome. And truthfully, I agree with you. Michael Jackson, MJ the Musical, is just, it's such a spectacle. It's like it's kind of like iconic Broadway in a way that you don't always see from a lot of shows. Like I saw the touring production, but it was just still as like awestruck and kind of, it gives you that, I don't know, it gives you that energy that I feel like it's perfect when you're kind of in the middle of training for the Jimmy Awards and getting ready for it. You need that kind of high energy feel and to see like, this is what Broadway is.
And I mean, we had an MJ number in our opening number this year at the Jimmy Awards, and every day we would just listen to MJ the Musical when it was during our warm up. So when we got to MJ the Musical, everyone, all 116 of us, we were so excited. We were dancing, we were clapping, we were hyping up the Michael. And later that night after bows, they give us a shout out. And to hear a shout out from MJ the Musical on Broadway was just crazy.
That's so
and
awesome.
it was amazing. The cast was just so supportive. They were so kind. And earlier, I believe, we actually got to have dinner with some of the cast members. And so just having that one-on-one conversation about how did you get this far? What's some advice? What do you think I should do for this? It was just so incredible to hear real professionals give us advice before we go into the professional workforce. It's crazy.
And it really does show you too the community that is Broadway and theater of just like we're not here to, it's not always a competition. It's here to support each other. You know, we're all trying to build each other up and have beautiful art that, you know, that you want to really make sure that everybody is having like a very fulfilling time and a happy time. So it's cool that you got to have that kind of feel with them.
Yeah, it was incredible.
But you mentioned about, you know, as you're going into kind of the workforce. So what are your goals or dreams when it comes to performing?
I mean, again, like I'm a sophomore. I still have plenty of time to think what I want to do in the future. But I've actually had an interest in science and medicine for a little bit.
That's incredible.
But performing is where I love being the most. Again, like I've been performing since I was a toddler, basically. And I always have a special place in my heart for the performing arts and musical theater. I definitely think no matter what I do in the future as an adult or maybe in a couple of years, I definitely want to continue performing, whether it's professionally or just for fun. I love performing so much.
What is that dream role that you have that you want to play it one day?
Oh my gosh, my dream role. There's so many.
You can list many of them if you want.
I can list many? Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to be Velma in Chicago. I love dancing. And of course, I just learned Fosse. So I think that'd be great. Cassie in a chorus line. I love a chorus line. I would like to say Fiona in Shrek the Musical. I love her story. I love her character. And I think she would just be so fun to play. And I think that's really it. There's so many roles I would love to play, but I'd say those are my top 3.
I mean, those are all incredible ones. I mean, and you would absolutely kill it at any one of them.
Oh, thank you.
So one final question I just have for you is just with all the incredible work you put in for the Sutton Foster Awards, representing Michigan on national stage at the Jimmy Awards, what advice would you give to young performers who've watched you now on this journey?
Wow. I would say take every opportunity you have to perform, because not only do I participate in musical theater, I'm also the color guard captain in my marching band. I play piano, I play clarinet. I was in a opera chorus with Detroit Opera Youth Chorus when I was little. I was also in the Nutcracker with Ballet Met at the Detroit Opera House as well.
Oh, wow.
And I did competitive dance for a couple of years with Next Up Broadway. And just taking every single opportunity to perform, even creating your own opportunities. Like I created a little group of musicians this year, or musically inclined students, including me, and we would go to nursing homes and perform for the people there. And so taking those opportunities, creating your own opportunities to continue your craft and helping out your community will really help you uh, build up your performance and encourage you to do better and encourage you to keep performing.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much, Lillian, for being here. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. And again, congratulations on this gigantic accomplishment. And we're so excited to see where you go from here.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us here in our box seats. Until next curtain call.